The snow came in a hurry, blanketing our small garden and ushering in the feeling that winter really is finally here. With the last farmers market of the season over, it felt like the right time to begin planning what to prepare, pickle and ferment for the coming months. As this is our new home, we don't have all the things I would usually use to make sauerkraut or hot sauce and other preserves, so things might look a little different this winter. We picked up a few hot sauces at the farmers market, which are locally made in Boulder, just over 30 minutes outside of Denver. We're really hoping these will last us a while. They've also given us a few ideas on what to potentially grow and produce next year. I had so much fun growing peppers and chilies last year and turning them into a fiery hot sauce. Therefore, I'm really excited about what Denver's growing season may hold. One thing I've come to learn since moving to Denver is altitude makes a huge difference when it comes to baking. So last night I prepared some dough to make today just as an experiment to see what was possible with the recipe I already had and how I was going to need to change it to adjust for elevation. So I'm going to start by showing you the bread, and then we'll move on to pickling some beetroot, one of my favourite ways to preserve beets in the winter. Now, when it comes to baking in altitude, there are so many things that you have to take into consideration. And to be honest, it felt a little overwhelming, so I kind of ignored it, and I just thought I'd see how it went. And I would say it went remarkably well, considering my laissez-faire attitude towards it. It really rose incredibly quickly. It had, quadrupled in size by the morning, and baking it looked like the perfect loaf. However, I got a little bit impatient, and I also didn't have a proper rack to dry it on, which is why I put it up here. And so I decided to cut into it while it was still hot. This could have been the problem, or maybe I didn't cook it long enough with the lid on, but it was just a little bit squidgy inside. However, I'm excited to keep going and to keep trying. If you've never had spiced pickled beets before, they are one of the most earthy, wholesome, delicious, spicy things that you can have. And when I say spicy, I really mean cozy. It smells a lot like Christmas. And all I do is make sure that they're clean. I take off the tops and the bottoms. I fill a pan with them and just cover them in water. Make sure that they are fully covered. And then I add all the spices. And I also add I doubled the recipe, so 250 mils of red wine vinegar. You can see there's various different things in there, which I'll put in the description below. With the lid on, I cook this for about an hour until they're nice and soft. I take them out and let them cool down a little bit, and then the skins should just peel right off. I know it's not the festive season yet, but the smell of this just made me feel like home, and it did make me feel a little bit homesick just thinking about cooking in my parents' kitchen at Christmas time and just having everyone around. But I'm excited for what this year has to bring. Adjusting to the elevation has really taken some time. Not only has baking been impacted, but the amount of lip balm I use, taking it slow and exercising, eating more and drinking a considerable amount more water throughout the day. I'm quite a fussy water drinker, I won't lie, and I like it to be frighteningly cold. Denver water is perfectly safe to drink, but they do recommend using your filter if you are concerned about lead and chlorine byproducts. I have always used a water filter, and so when I moved, Lark reached out to kindly sponsor a portion of today's video and let me try out their Pure Vis pitcher, which has been used daily by both myself and my husband. This is an advanced water pitcher with 2-step filtration and purification. It only takes a matter of seconds to purify and sanitize water and is long-lasting with a 60-gallon filter capacity. It purifies water automatically, both on refill and every 6 hours to prevent bacterial and biocontaminant growth inside the pitcher. It holds up to 8 cups of water and conveniently recharges via USB. You can also download the app to keep track of how much water is being filtered and when the filter needs replacing. If you'd like to find out more, please check out the description for more information. I wanted to pickle a lot of cucumbers because I was able to find some at the last farmer's market, but they're also really expensive and I wanted to have a go at making my own. So I filled up 2 jars with some black peppercorns, some fresh dill and the cucumbers, and I just use a 1-to-1 ratio of water and white vinegar. These turned out beautifully. I let them cool down and then put them in the fridge, and after about 2 days they were ready. And now they're in the fridge just whenever we want one, ready to go. I find myself eating them just on their own, but they make a really great chickpea sort of salad. I had another go at making bread. I made it exactly the same way, except I made it a little bit more wet. So I really only added maybe an extra tablespoon or 2 of water, just to see if that would make a difference. I've also found that storing them in a plastic bag that is sealed really helps to prolong its life and prevent food waste. After I made my 2 loaves of bread, I decided to try and make some apple cider vinegar. The last time I tried to make some little mice managed to get into it and, well, we couldn't use it. So I'm just using it from some scraps. I used 1 cup of water to 1 tablespoon of sugar. I only had brown sugar, so we'll see how well that goes. But I'm putting this cloth over the top, putting it in a dark place for 2 weeks. Then I will strain it and let it go for another 2 weeks uncovered. And we'll see what happens. I have high hopes though. With the rest of the apple pieces, I actually made a apple crumble and I added some cloves, some cinnamon and some allspice, and it made an absolutely delicious apple crumble base. It's sitting in the fridge, waiting to be used. Unfortunately, I didn't plug my microphone in here, so what I'm telling you is that I'm putting it in covered for slightly longer, so about 23 minutes instead of 18, and it made a huge difference. Not only with altitude baking, of course, but all baking, because of ovens being different, just deserve a little bit of experimentation. Seeing what works for you, seeing what helps you to shape things in a way that actually help it to rise. I find that folding it 3 or 4 times is what actually helps it to rise for me, but that might not be the same for you. We also had some bananas that were very ripe, so I decided to make some banana bread, of course. It's a really easy recipe. We just use 3 bananas, a couple of tablespoons of coconut oil, some vanilla essence, all-purpose flour, baking powder, baking soda, and of course some brown sugar. It's a really simple recipe. Just put the wet ingredients in one bowl and the dry in the other, and then fold it in a bit by bit just to make sure it doesn't go over. I am not accustomed to adding chocolate chips, but Bea really wanted them, so I tried it. And it was honestly delicious. We ate quite a lot of it as soon as it was ready, so I wrapped up and put the other half in the freezer, just so that it wouldn't be all eaten in one go. Okay, so I tried to talk about tempeh earlier, but I didn't have my microphone plugged in, so let's try that one more time. A few weeks ago, we went to the last farmer's market of the season, and we came across a little brand called Little House of Tempeh, and I never realized that you could actually make tempeh from things other than soybeans. And tempeh is one thing that I wanted to make in this video because I wanted to experiment with it. But I was just a little bit nervous because I was reading a lot of reviews online of different starters that you need, and I couldn't find one that had a consensus that it was really good. I guess I read too many reviews and sometimes it makes me inactive when thinking about starting something new. So same with sauerkraut. I really want to make some sauerkraut, but I've been looking and trying to read reviews of different crock pots and things to get, but I just could not find one that was a consensus that people really liked and agreed on. I have used glass jars in the past. Some of them have been okay and some of them just haven't worked, and I wasn't quite sure why. I'm sure it's my method and not the vessel at which I choose to use, but I wanted to get a crock that had a way at the top which used kind of a water seal so that the gases can come out and no oxygen can get in. But there are lots of different reviews, so that is something I'm also trying to figure out. But going back to this company are based in Fort Collins, which is maybe 2 hours, I think, from Denver. But they make loads of different kinds of tempeh out of chickpeas and sunflower seeds, black beans, black-eyed peas, mung dal, and I had no idea that that was possible. I do eat a lot of soy, so I have been trying to find different ways to just make my diet a little bit more varied, because even though I eat what I want, I still, you know, have in the back of my mind that I should probably try and eat lots of different things just to make sure I'm healthy. And this has been really exciting, and that's why I've been looking into making tempeh, because I really want to make chickpea tempeh, chickpea and sunflower seed and black bean. We use a black bean one in a stir fry. It was phenomenal. So I really want to be able to do that going forward. If any of you have any good tips on making tempeh, then please let me know, because yeah, I'm just stuck on that choosing a starter. Do I even need a starter? Lots of people online say I do need a starter because you need that bacteria. But yeah, that's something that I would definitely want to make. And what I would usually make in this video at this time of year is some sauerkraut as well, to preserve that cabbage going forward. I have actually mostly eaten just some bread and the banana bread that we made today, or I made today. So I think I'm gonna have some lunch and end this video here. He actually made a chickpea curry last night, which was so delicious and made quite a lot. So I'm gonna have that for lunch now and then, yeah, plan the next video. So thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. And please let me know in the comments any kind of videos that you want to see. Now that I'm more settled, I really want to go back to creating 2 videos a week, because I love long form content. And for those of you who don't like shorts, I'm really sorry. This is apparently what we have to do now to grow on YouTube or keep up with what's happening. So I apologize if you don't like them, and I hope that you stick around for the long form content that's going to be coming. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very, very soon. Bye.
There's nothing to hold. There is nothing to hold on to.